you. Let me start by saying welcome to my hometown of Selma, Alabama, and welcome to my home church, the historic Brown Chapel A.M.E. Church. It is always good to be back home, always. And I just want to start by acknowledging that protocol having been established, I want to acknowledge all of the dignitaries that are here today, and most importantly, the congregation of Brown Chapel A.M.E. Church. Will the congregants of my home church please stand? Let me say that every year since I've been a member of Congress and as a little child, foot soldiers like John Lewis would come back to commemorate what happened right here. They would do so to remind us all that history is elusive. Every generation must fight and fight again to maintain the progress of the past and to advance it. If we don't tell our stories, others will, and they may not get it right. We who are members of Brown Chapel Church are custodians of America's history. We're custodians of what happened right here in Selma. We who are natives of Selma, Alabama, who get the pleasure and honor every day of seeing that bridge, are custodians of America's history. And what this $1.3 million grant from the National Park Service will do is to ensure that America's story lives on. That we, who are members of this great church, are not alone in preserving it, because this great church is a part of America's history. If these walls could talk, if these amazing bricks could talk, they would tell you the story of ordinary Americans right here in Alabama achieving extraordinary social change. If these walls could talk, it would tell you of the hopes and dreams of foot soldiers like Amelia Boynton Robinson, Reverend F.D. Reese, and yes, of course, our beloved John Lewis. All Alabamians, all who had hopes and dreams that one day, this America, our America, would live up to its ideals of equality and justice for all. It is incumbent upon all of us to make sure that we continue to push forward. And so I want to thank the National Park Service. I want to thank my colleagues in Congress, including the former congressman from Mobile, Bradley Byrne, for helping me year after year increase the appropriations for historic preservation of civil rights sites. Thank you. And as I take my seat, I would be remiss if I didn't invoke the memory, the legacy of my mother, Miss Nancy Gardner Sewell, who served as secretary of this foundation. I want you all to know that my mom loved Brown Chapel. Oh, yes. She loved the city of Selma, having served as its first city councilwoman, who was an African-American, first African-American city councilwoman. And I just want to say that I know I stand on her shoulders. I know that she is smiling from heaven to know that Brown Chapel will receive $1.3 million to help preserve this wonderful edifice. You know, if it's true what Shirley Chisholm, the first African-American congresswoman, said when she said that public service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on this earth. My mama paid rent, mortgage, down payment on so many. She sowed seeds all throughout this state and this city and this church. Her legacy will truly live on in the preservation of this church, but also in the hearts and minds of so many. I want to acknowledge my aunts, my mother's sisters who are here today. Will you please stand so we can acknowledge you? My mom's sisters, my auntie Teresa, the matriarch, my auntie Dorothy, and the caregiver who stood by my side for those 8 weeks, my aunt Negatha Holt. Thank you. As I take my seat, let us remember that the light will continue to shine on the city of Selma, on the state of Alabama, on this church, if we all do what we know in our heart is right. The time is always right to do what's right. Thank you.